So we've got a breaking story, and it's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And if you don't want to be uncomfortable, you might want to turn off this video. If you're okay with talking about uncomfortable topics, stay tuned because I got to show you this. This is the headline. A dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers, okay? An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. And this is coming out on August 27th, 2025. This is from Wired, and I want to make it really clear. I don't know the truth. I want to make that clear. I don't know the truth. Because, you know, you're going to get different versions of this, and I'm just showing you the headline. I also want to make it clear, too, this is from Wired, and they were the people who broke the big ball story. I know it sounds so stupid when you say it, but the whole Elon Musk Doge stuff, they have really good reporting over there. So, you know, if I had to choose, I would say I think there must be some truth to some of the stuff that they're saying in there because they're serious journalists over there at Wired, and I'm serious about this. Like I said, they broke the Doge stuff, etc. So don't think that, oh, this is just some right-wing hit piece. No, this is Wired. Again, they broke the Doge stuff, broke all the stuff about Elon and etc. And we talk about them quite a bit. So the question is there some sort of, you know, dark money funding YouTubers out there that you may see? Is it indeed $8,000 a month? And is content being controlled, etc.? So let's listen to a few of the rebuttals here. This is the Brian dude. And again, people are going to be uncomfortable talking about this stuff. I'll just say this. I don't like most people on YouTube. I'll be really clear, and I'll repeat. I do not like most people on YouTube. I just don't. A lot of them are drama queens, and that's a big thing on YouTube. And I guess people like to watch that. So, you know, and that's your prerogative if that's what you like. But let's see what he has to say.
At the risk of giving an internet troll more attention, I want to address a piece that Taylor Lorenz wrote yesterday for Wired. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. Literally nothing in this statement is true. The article is about Chorus, which is a nonprofit that I helped found to build up a creator ecosystem, which everybody says they want, but few are doing. So here's what Chorus is. It is a scholarship program to teach creators how to grow their accounts, foster engagement, launch their own shows, and become profitable on their own. It's an incubator program to build the pro-democracy ecosystem. Influencers and creators have never been more important when it comes to how Americans are consuming their news. The right has been doing this for years, and the left needs to catch up. That's why we're doing this with Chorus. So let's talk about what Chorus is and
Okay, so right away, I think there's definitely money changing hands. I don't think he's denying that. He refers to it as a scholarship program, etc. And to be clear, guys, even if I agree with these people on many points, say politics or whatever, it doesn't mean I have to like them. It doesn't mean I have to agree with everything. And that's where the real issue becomes, because a lot of these things I've noticed lately, and again, many people don't like to hear this stuff, but I just want to tell you the truth on it. I just noticed they push certain issues all at the same time, etc., and it bothers me. I consider myself, and I not just consider myself, I am independent. I literally have my own opinions. I say whatever the heck I want. And, you know, and I think it's important when we talk about, say we go into midterms or we go into the, you know, next year's presidential election and say there's 10 candidates on stage, I'll just tell you who I like. I tell you who I don't like. I tell you who I like. And what I think is probably going to happen by the time we reach that stage, you'll start to see, and you'll start to see some of the influencers that are all just pushing the party line, and they'll be like, oh, well, you know, I all prefer this candidate, and I'll prefer this candidate. And then they all kind of start pointing the same one, and you'll know something's going on. And for me, this is what really turned me off to, I guess, either of the big parties. You know, for example, I liked Bernie. I said that from the beginning. You can find all my old social media stuff. I went to Bernie rally stuff. I like Bernie. And I always felt the Democratic Party pushed Bernie out and treated him really poorly. That's my opinion on that. And I'm concerned going forward if that sort of thing may happen again. So this is you know, and again, I may agree with a lot of these people on various policies, things like that, but I do not consider myself like, hey, always pushing the party line and stuff like that. If you guys understand what I'm saying. And so this is a big deal here. He's going to claim that all of this are lies. That's why I put up front that Wired broke the Doge story, stuff about Elon, etc. But let's just see what this stuff has to say. It says, in a private group chat in June, dozens of Democratic political influencers discussed whether to take advantage of an enticing opportunity. So they're saying a lot of people were talking about, should we take this or not? I'm not in this realm, so I wasn't offered anything. So I haven't seen any contracts. This is a big question, is like, Does anyone have this contract? When's it going to be public? Because I'm kind of curious myself. They were being offered $8,000 per month to take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering Democratic messaging on the internet. Okay. But the contract sent them from Chorus, which that Brian dude just said he's founded, I guess, or partly founded. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform came with some strings. Among other issues, it mandated, so he had to, extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content that creators could produce, right? And then it goes on to where, some people were like, I guess in a group chat talking about whether or not they should take the deal or not. We'll listen to a little bit more of some of the defense, right? Because these people are saying it's all lies. And this is sort of where, guys, I honestly don't know the truth. I do not know. I'll be clear. I don't know the truth of this stuff. So that's why I'm showing you both sides. But the stories don't match. So something's up here, right?
I need to take a minute and debunk some important misinformation. Many of you have commented about this article that came out in The Wired, asking if I've sold out, if I've taken money to push political talking points. The answer is no. Number one, this group never paid me for any content. This group never had control over any of my content. They never told me who to interview, what to say, or what not to say. They never once said you can't report on an issue. This group is a public cohort. Nothing was secret. And the point of it was to mentor smaller creators so that they can grow and that they can monetize their platform. And just like I've given speeches in the past or I've mentored other creators in the past, this was no different. This had nothing to do with politics, had nothing to do with a political party, and had no control over the content that I ever made. And even the article writer, Taylor Lorenz, admits that. Aaron is correct that Chorus didn't pay them to post specific content. Now, she talks about disclosure requirements. But there was no
so
nothing to do with
let me read the full thing that she pointed to here.
This was no different. This had nothing to do with politics, had nothing to do with a political party, and had no control over the content that I ever made. And even the article writer, Taylor Lorenz, admits that. Aaron.
Okay, right here. It says, Taylor Lorenz, Chorus wouldn't let the creators comment for the article. Okay. So meaning that she reached out to them to, would you comment on this thing? They threatened to kick out any creators who spoke to the press. Aaron is correct that Chorus didn't pay them to post specific content, but I do think that the contract was unethical and how it banned disclosure. Okay. Something lawyer bragging on the call, how they don't need to, something about FEC regulations is not this type of stuff, Democrats. Okay. And GOP. Okay. So the issue is someone being paid to push the party line and not disclosing it? And I do think that stuff matters. And that's why I mentioned back to the Bernie stuff and things I don't necessarily like about, it doesn't matter either party, right? Because there could be, just for example, there could be someone in the Republican Party. I'm like, hey, I like that particular candidate, but if you know how party politics works, suddenly all the big money and whatever starts steering to like one particular person, and that could go for either party. And it's been like that for years, in my opinion. I'm 50. If you guys don't know, the person that I want never wins. Let's be honest, because and I'm talking about in terms of primaries, because the final choice, sometimes they do win, because you get down the two, but usually the person I like in the primaries doesn't win, because by the time you get to the finish line, it's just you're kind of going with whatever the party had chosen, and I've always felt like that. And so that's something I'm always really concerned about this stuff. So let's just curious. Let's see what Aaron has to say. Let people talk.
Aaron is correct that Chorus didn't pay them to post specific content. Now, she talks about disclosure requirements, but there was no payment for content, and so there is nothing to disclose. What this article is advocating for is that any of you have to disclose where you work, what you do for a living, how much you make, and who your CEO is. That means I have to disclose that a bar prep company has paid me to help grade bar exam essays. But I want to make clear that if there was ever a situation where a quote-unquote dark money group tried to pay me to push a narrative, I'd say absolutely not. But that hasn't stopped this online firing squad from emerging. And it's funny, the people that are attacking me online are traditional journalists who are threatened by the work that I do, and also bad faith actors who have spent their entire last 2 years that I've been on this platform attacking me. So I'm not going to stop. And I want you to know that if you have any questions, comment them below. I'll answer all of them.
So I don't know. I don't know, the truth on this stuff. I don't know. I make it clear. I don't know. What I do know though is that sometimes I notice patterns of like, why are all certain YouTubers now pushing a certain candidate? And you'll see it on YouTube where it's like, why are we all talking about the same thing at the same time? So that's kind of stuff I've always, questioned and wondered, and if they're all working in cohort. I do know there's certainly networks out there of YouTubers. And I also want to make it clear, I made videos on this, be it with the people with the Benny Johnson and the Tim Pool. I think there's another dude, bunch of right wingers that literally took Russian money, and that's a whole other ball game. I really, really, really adamantly hate those people. So there's dislike and hate. I really, really don't like those people. I talked about before. If you follow my channel for a long time, you'll know this. I identified a bunch of YouTubers that were all pushing FTX. I was the only one who broke that story. And eventually everyone else caught up with me. I've been suspicious all along of many of the YouTubers, if you want to call it the left or whatever, that are working in cahoots. It's easy to see when they also push the same narrative and they literally go on each other's channel and wear t-shirts with each other and whatever, you can tell, or they all have the same sponsors pushing the same, ad reads. So there's certainly, I think, something going on here. But is it, is evil or whatever? I'll let you guys all be the judge of that and stuff. And if you like whatever said people, that's all your prerogative, right? And the same way, if you want to watch my channel, you can and not. I just want to be truthful about this stuff. And for me, I've said this so many times about YouTube. When I first started watching YouTube, years ago, I just want to tune into the channel and get an honest, a review of like a phone or a computer or whatever, right? You want someone's just like honest opinion, and as YouTube starts to develop, you get people who basically don't give you honesty anymore. You guys know this, right? So, it's frustrating. And, I hope there's just enough people out there that, hey, let's just have honest people and give honest opinions, not push party lines. So even if I agree more with the Democrats than say the Republicans, I don't necessarily want to just push the party line. So there's that. So I want to make that clear. This is from Taylor. She says, since creators in the 1630 paid influencer program are so eager for transparency, why don't they publish the full contract they signed? They say it's not private information anywhere, so publish it. Yeah, I agree. If they're indeed, all up on the board, publish the contract. I'll actually be curious to read this stuff myself. I am quite curious. What else to say? Let people read exactly what you agreed to and publish the Zoom onboardings where program obligations were outlined. Okay. What this person says here, Brian Tyler Cohen, that's the Brian dude, is now retweeting favorable tweets from people who have pages dedicated to posting all about pro-Israel Democrat politicians. Interesting. Really helping his defense, I'd say. Maybe. Yeah, and that gets into the whole AIPAC stuff. I'll just say this, that the whole situation with Gaza, you'll know a channel, and I don't watch all these channels to verify it, but you'll know how they address the Gaza situation. I make it really clear all the time. I think the whole thing is awful, and I wish the U.S. would not support that whole thing in any way, shape, or form. I don't base my whole channel about talking about Gaza every single day, but if you watch my channel, you'll know my position's clear on that stuff. And unfortunately, there's a lot of politicians out there or channels, whatever, just won't talk about it at all. And so there's that. And again, I always say the same thing. It's just like I treat all life equal, all the same. I just care about children, be it the school shootings or anywhere. So and I've said that before on the channel. And there's another one. Here's from Taylor. She says, if it were true that the influencers were allowed to disclose their dark money funding at any time, which is not true per the contract, then why didn't they disclose the dark money they were taking? Why did they keep it secret and then prevent my story from coming out? Interesting. Okay. So let's see what's more of this Brian dude has to say. And he's always angry. That's just shtick. So it's all fake. But let's just watch. And again, I know it'll upset people when you tell them the dude's fake, but isn't it obvious? How can you be angry nonstop? It's just all an act. And he's an actor, if you don't know. He has an IMDb. You can look it up. The dude is literally an actor. So there's that.
What it's not. Chorus does not pay creators for content, does not tell them what to say, it does not control who they talk to or work with, and there is absolutely nothing in the contract that could even be reasonably interpreted to say that we do. Period. Full stop. I don't know a single creator who would willfully sign up for a program that would tell them what they can or can't say. That's not what this program is. We pay people to show up to workshops and technical trainings to optimize their content online. For example, we've got trainings on how to package content for YouTube, trainings on how to optimize audience retention for Instagram and TikTok, trainings on how to form an LLC. Again, there are zero restrictions.
So I did hear that you're paying people. I do hear that you're training people. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that, right? I mean, if you want to watch this whole thing, we can watch a little bit more of this dude, what he has to say. But so definitely money's changing hands. Like I think I don't think he's denying that. And so that's why I'm curious on the contract. I do think that's a legitimate question. What's going on?
That the 1630 Fund is, quote, a powerful liberal dark money group. 1630 Fund is our fiscal sponsor. One of the largest documented donors to 1630 Fund is the same person funding Meteor's Reporters in Residence program, which Taylor Lorenz herself is a part of. And guess what her monthly stipend is? $8,000 per month. So she's criticizing an entity that is funded by someone that she is currently taking money from. I guess it's okay when Taylor Lorenz gets paid, but no one else. The monthly stipend that we offer is so that creators can do this work full time. We've had numerous creators in the cohort quit their jobs so that they can focus on creating content full time. That is what we want. I'm really proud that we can give creators that security for as long as they're in the program. We want people to create pro-democracy content full time, and we want to make sure that they can...
All right, so you get the basic idea. So it looks like they're not denying paying people, and then the real thing is, in the contract, is there anything that says that you're not disclosing when you should be? And also, are you pushing the party line and directing people? So that's what they say. I just want to show you what they say. And I want to also make it clear I don't know the truth. And also make it clear most people on YouTube I don't like. So when you ask me, do I like a certain channel? Generally speaking, for 99% of it, no, I don't. So there's that. But it doesn't mean everyone's bad out there on YouTube. There's certainly real people out there. And one thing I will say, though, is because if you guys don't know, on YouTube, we have analytics on everything. I know that less than half of my audience is from the USA, so a very large portion outside the USA. So for the half that are outside the USA, you guys will probably be comfortable with this kind of stuff. But I know for this topic, people will get really, really sensitive. They'll say, "Chris, you're so dumb. You should push the party line, etc." And I just disagree. I think in this day and age with the AI stuff and people passing money around to push party lines, I just want someone to be honest, and I want good candidates regardless of party. It doesn't matter to me. I literally can just see what they're saying, and I'll say, hey, I like this person. Hey, I don't like this person. The same way I look at the news and I say, hey, I think this is good. I think this is bad. Same with talking about markets, being honest about this stuff. But in this day and age, a lot of people don't want anyone to be honest. They just want cheerleaders, and I tell you that. And I know it upsets a lot of people, but that's the question that I pose to you. And something you have to ask yourself. Do you ever notice when you watch, certain two channels, they all pushing the same thing at the same time, saying the same kind of words, pumping up each other? There's a lot of things that are questionable out there, and it bothers me, honestly, because I just want to talk to real people. I don't want to talk to actors. I don't want to talk to party lines and platforms and stuff like that. And just because someone's in a different party or platform, I don't hate them. I literally want to talk to them and hear their ideas, and I'll tell them, hey, this was good, what's bad. You don't actually hear very many real conversations in this world. It's all fake and scripted, and you'll see on TV people fighting, and it's just all some big reality TV show. And that's sort of how we got to the Donald Trump world, which I really dislike Donald Trump. I don't like these people at all. Make it clear. And I want real people who fight for regular working Americans, who understand the lives of regular working Americans, and are open to ideas from no matter where they come from. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. I'd like to hear yours. What do you think where the truth is on this stuff? And I'll catch you on the next video.